Thursday night heartbreak for the Arizona Cardinals leaves them at 2-2 through the first 4 games of the regular season. Welcome in a Football Friday edition of the lunch break right here on KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert with you the next 2 hours, getting you ready. Lots of football action still in front of us. An important baseball series for the Diamondbacks this weekend as well. So even though no Cardinals over the weekend, still a lot to get you prepared for. Producer Evan's behind the glass. He's ready to take your phone calls today and your picks in hour number 2 of the program, 480-864-1060, the way that you can join us throughout the course of the program. Let's waste little time. Thursday night football last night, the Arizona Cardinals, a heartbreaker, sitting at 2-2. And last night's game left me asking one question in particular.
Time for our top story of the day. It's the Daily Special.
Do the Arizona Cardinals know how to win football games? That is the question that I have coming out of last night's contest. An embarrassment for 3 quarters. Your offense getting booed off the field. Luckily, we don't do radio shows after every quarter of football because it would have been a different talking point at the end of each quarter. It was a tale of 2 halves for Marvin Harrison Jr. Put a pin in that for a little bit. We'll get to that now in number 2 of the show here today. But at the end of the day, it was heartbreak for the second straight game, a game-winning field goal in their last 2 games for the divisional opponent. And through 4 games, the Cardinals sit at 2-2. They battle back in the fourth quarter. Kyler Murray shows us his chops, takes the team on not 1 but 2 scoring drives in the fourth quarter with this team facing a 2-score deficit, gets them in position to be tied 20-20. I have some thoughts on that I want to share here today as well. And then it all goes downhill on the ensuing kickoff. Chad Ryland, in an attempt to force the Seahawks to field the kick, try to pin them deep, knowing a field goal is all that they need to beat you, tries to land it just on the fringe of the landing zone. It misses it by less than a yard, sets up Seattle on the 40-yard line. And in today's NFL, when you set up a team, doesn't matter who the team is, you set up a team, 40-yard line, that much time, a timeout in their back pocket, most teams are going to at least get a decent attempt off. In today's NFL, with how it is so offense first, with how good kickers have been as of late, 50 yards is nothing. 55 is starting to become nothing. It doesn't take much to give yourself a chance. So you pair the blunder on special teams. By the way, it's the right call to do that play in that spot. You just got to execute a little better. You just got to make sure you get it in there. But knowing that the team only needs 3, you want to make them field that kick, run some time off the clock, and potentially pin them inside the 35 so that they have further to go than your standard typical touchback, or in the case of what Chad Ryland did, kicking the ball short and giving them the ball at the 40. So it's the right play, just got to execute better. And unfortunately, Seattle executed that situation perfectly, got themselves into field goal range, made the kick. They are now 3-1. The Cardinals sit 2-2, 0-2 in the division to start the year. And we told you how big of a difference it would be between 3-1 and 2-2. And sure enough, here we are today, and that difference exists. Under Jonathan Gannon, the Arizona Cardinals are now 7-12 in 1-score games. Jonathan Gannon has coached 17 games for 2 seasons and 4 games this year. You add that up, that's 38 times Jonathan Gannon has been on the sideline for the Arizona Cardinals. 38 times under Jonathan Gannon, the Cardinals have stepped foot on a football field. 19 of those 38 games, half, have been 1-score finals. The Cardinals have won 7 of those games. Last year, we saw a team that maybe exceeded expectations early and didn't know how to win and didn't know how to capitalize off of losses. We throw the phrase out there, moral victories. The reason why victories can be classified as moral victories is because they are building blocks and they lead to something. So you had moral victories last year. Did it help you in the 2 games that you played in Seattle late in the season? Did it help you in Carolina? Did any of those games help you? Because here now we enter year 3, a year with heightened expectations. And I'm not sure. All 4 games this season for the Cardinals have gone one score either way. First 2 games of the season they won. You know what the last 2 games have looked like. This is how Jonathan Gannon wants to play football. He wants to play these one-score close games, and he wants to lean on his defense. Guess what? If you want to do that, you have to know how to execute in these scenarios. You have to know that everything matters if you're going to leave the margin for error that slim. Got to win the time of possession. Got to win the turnover battle. Got to win the penalty battle. Have to execute the small stuff. Special teams, you have to execute that play. You want to play this way? You want to dig yourself an early hole and then come back? You need to do the small stuff correctly, and it just doesn't feel like the Cardinals are a team right now that we can believe will do the small stuff right. Couldn't execute on a 3rd and 9 last week. Zay Jones catches that pass. They're 3-0 coming into this game last night. If Chad Ryland kicks that ball 1 or 2 yards further, perhaps the game goes to overtime. More than likely it does. And chance for the Cardinals to at least see the ball one more time and try to win the game. You can't start as slowly as this Cardinals team did last night, and you can't miss on the small stuff. And the Cardinals missed on the small stuff. Now, let's back up a second, because I do want to talk about one decision that I disagreed with in the game last night. You go down the field, you scored the touchdown to make it 20-19. And I know I'm going to hear from a lot of people today that tell me that I'm Captain Hindsight or want to tell me why I'm wrong for thinking this. But Jonathan Gannon and the Arizona Cardinals should have absolutely gone for 2 when they scored the touchdown to make it 20-19. And let me explain to you why. In today's NFL, getting 3 points, when a touchback gets it to the 35, when what Chad Ryland did gets it to the 40, with 28 seconds, a timeout in your back pocket, it is easy to get 3 points. 3 points is nothing in today's game. There's nothing you can do defensively to really stop a team from getting into field goal range when they're starting on the 35 or the 40. It's 1 first down, and you basically are going to give it a shot. That's how easy and simple it is. So even if you made the extra point, like you did, 2020, field goal still beats you, still easy to score. Instead, you go for 2 and you get it, it's 21-20. And I can hear some of you out there, because producer Evan was channeling this opinion in the morning meeting. We had a little bit of a disagreement on this one. But Chris, if they kick the field goal, they still win the game. Do you understand the difference when the game is 20-20 and a missed field goal doesn't lose the game for you? Do you understand the difference, the pressure that is on Seattle when they need the field goal to win the game? At 21-20, there's more pressure on the offense to execute. There's more pressure on the kicker to make the kick. There's no pressure if he misses the kick. You're going to overtime if he misses the kick at 20-20. But at 21-20, you shank that kick left or right, it's game over. You lost. You collapsed in the 4th quarter. That pressure needs to be applied. For 3 quarters, Cardinals, dead and buried in this game, had all the momentum on their side. With how easy it is to score 3 points, I want to make it as pressure-packed as I can for Seattle in that moment. Because either way, you think it's easy to score 3 points, why not turn up the pressure dial a little bit and say, you need this field goal to win the game? Not to just win the game and walk off and have no risk. If you miss it, you go to overtime. No, if you miss the field goal, you lose. You blew a 4th quarter lead. That's why I would have gone for it. You had all the momentum on your side. The offense had found its flow and rhythm there in the 4th quarter in particular. I would have just gone maximum pressure, full throttle, and made Seattle just look up. And guess what? Mike Macdonald is a 2nd-year coach. He's not a savvy veteran like Andy Reid or Sean McVay or Bill Belichick, who's been around the block and knows how to would be one of the first times he's in a situation like this. Put pressure on them. They had a multi-score lead in the 4th quarter. Now make them look up at the scoreboard and go, how the heck did this happen? How are we now down a point, needing a field goal, 28 seconds, 1 timeout? Put all the pressure on them. Instead, you kick the extra point. It's 20-20. There's no pressure. They just have to go out there and execute. And all Sam Darnold has to do is, you know what? I got to give my team a chance. I got to give us a shot to kick the field goal. It's exactly what he did. They walked it off. So I'm not trying to be Captain Hindsight. I get it. But the pressure that because I'm already seeing it. I'm already seeing it in the YouTube comments. Field goal still beats you if you get to 2-point conversion. There is a massive difference in the way the offense is called, the pressure that is on you when it's 21-20 compared to 2020. There is a big difference. You cannot assume that they're going to get to the same spot. You cannot assume that they're going to have the same setup for the kick. All of it changes. The context around that final drive changes if the score is 21-20 rather than 20-20. Now, you have to execute the Chad Ryland kick. So if he made that mistake, yeah, you're in a similar spot. But, man, I would have put pressure, take the lead, kick it deep, make them go. What would that have been? They got it at the 35. They would have needed to gone about 25 yards with all that pressure. I would have rolled the dice. Because a field goal beats you regardless, roll the dice.
I see where you're coming from. I disagree. Here's the difference. If you're at Seattle, it's not like they struggled to move the ball. It really is not. I mean, you looked up at the team stats, and I was there last night. You're like, how is this even a close game? I mean, Seattle had 384 yards of total offense. I mean, you threw it for over 200, ran for over $150. And I know what you're saying is, well, maybe they don't run the ball. But you held JSN without a catch in the first half. He had almost 80 yards in the second half alone, and twice on the last two drives, he beat you over the top, once down the right sideline, once down the left sideline for 30 yards each. As a play caller, down one, aren't I more aggressive? Aren't I more aggressive saying, okay, here's our situation, we need 3. And I can not only put myself in a position to get the 3, but I think you would be more aggressive to get another 10 to 15. So instead of a 52-yard attempt, maybe I have a 40-yard attempt to win the game because I'm down 1.
You are looking at this from the Seattle lens. I'm looking at this from the Arizona Jonathan Gannon lens, putting myself in Jonathan Gannon's shoes. And I admitted it at the top of the show. How easy is it to score 3 points in today's NFL? Simple.
It's a cakewalk.
It's a cakewalk. So why not? If it's a cakewalk at 2020, and you also think out there today that it's a cakewalk at 21-20, the argument that I'm making today for going for 2 and giving yourself the lead is you change the mental game for Seattle. And in a sport right now where it is easy to score 3 points, if that can create a small edge for me in the win probability, if they have the ball and they're thinking about it a little bit more, I would take that gamble in that spot. That's all I'm saying. You're right that they probably kicked the field goal anyway, but you just don't know. And with how easy it is to score 3, I'm looking for every way possible for me to make it more difficult on the other team. There's nothing really you can do defensively to make it more difficult. So you have to kind of play this mental chess game of there's a big difference between 21-20 and 20-20 with how they have to execute offensively.
So here's my biggest thing, and it doesn't end up mattering because this didn't happen anyway. If I'm at 20-20 and I get a big sack, Seattle takes a knee and plays for overtime. My thought process as the Cardinals is, if I kick this, I need 1 play to go to overtime. That's not the case if you go for 2. So there's a flip side to it. I would have gone for 2. I want to make that very clear. I would have gone for 2.
I hear you. You were out of this game for 3 quarters. I get that you're home. I get that you're a defensive-minded team. Your defense have been playing great. But in the second half, all of the Seahawks drives were field goals. And that was what they were doing. They were getting into field goal range and scoring points in the second half that way. So they know how to get into that spot. So to me, I would have looked at it this way. This is kind of house money at this point. I was out of this game. I've clawed my way back into it. Here is a play that can be a massive momentum swing for me and put all of the pressure on the world on the other team. It's so easy to score 3. I would take that as a small edge to try to give me a chance to win because to your point, if you make that sack on first down, 21-20, Seattle's got to quickly burn the timeout. Now everything's rushed and hurried. Now you have them playing on the back foot. It just changes everything. You have to find the small edges as a head coach. You have to find the small things that can help you win the game. And I think going for 2 in that spot last night would have been it. Now, It is what it is. The Seahawks kicked a field goal. At the end of the day, it's another close loss for the Cardinals. Back-to-back weeks where they've had these close losses, where they haven't done the little things correctly. This game is not about the two-point conversion. It's just something that's been on my mind since last night. They needed to play better early. They did not start fast enough in this game. We'll talk about Marv's first half. We'll talk about the offense's first half. I mean, they struggled. They are not a good enough football team. The way they want to play doesn't lend itself to digging early holes and trying to throw your way back in. Look at the box score last night. Look at how many times Kyler threw the ball compared to how many rushing attempts they had. That's not the way the Cardinals want to play. They were behind the 8 ball from the word go, some self-inflicted mistakes. Again, they have to do the little things correctly. And I'm sorry, I just don't know, and I don't trust this team right now to know how to win. Do I think they're good enough talent-wise to beat the Carolinas and New Orleanses of the world? Yes, but they have showed you for back-to-back weeks now they are not good enough, and they do not do the little things well enough to beat the San Franciscos, the Seattles of the world. So look at who's coming up on their schedule. You think they're going to be able to play this way against Green Bay and win? You think they're going to be able to play this way against Indianapolis and win? Do you think late in the season when they play the Rams, the 49ers again, the Seahawks again, you think this is a model, a recipe? They have to figure some stuff out, and they need to do it in a hurry because at 2-2, they are teetering on this season, sliding away. It's not there yet. Offense looked good in the second half. I don't hear anybody wanting a coaching change with Drew Petzing here today. But they are on a slippery slope of, I don't trust you when the talent scales are even. I don't trust you if the talent scales are close. I only trust you when the talent scales are heavily in your favor. That's on the coaching. That's on the execution. Tough one last night for the Arizona Cardinals. And again, they had chances late to make the comeback and win the football game. Needed to come up with that stop on that last drive. Could have gone for 2, put pressure on Seattle, but just too little too late. They started off too slowly.